the night before Christmas. I was closing down.
What is up, you guys, and welcome to probably my favorite routine video that I will ever do. It is a full Disney morning routine, and we went well into the afternoon and evening for cocktails and dinner. So the very first thing that I wanted to share was waking up in our hotel room. So Andre is usually already awake, especially in Disney. And this morning was a special morning because I had to get up extra early. And I actually had to get us on a boarding group for Rise the Resistance, so not stressful at all. So I moseyed my way out of bed from our very comfy bed at the Boardwalk. We loved staying at the Boardwalk. I love the artwork. I love the vibe of the hotel. It's just so comfortable, and you kind of feel at home being on the Boardwalk. And being in these types of rooms, I absolutely loved it because I can grab my stuff, I can get ready, and I can have a cup of coffee. So I made my way over to the washroom. So the style of bedroom that we got actually had two separate washrooms, so it was really nice, and this actually had like a full tub and everything, which you guys know I love my bathtub time. So I brushed my teeth and I put on my makeup. So usually I will either go makeup free, we will go to breakfast, and then I'll come back and put my makeup on. This day, since I was up, was getting our boarding group and everything, I figured might as well keep myself calm and get ready. So these are the things that I packed with my makeup to come to the park. I had all of these different holiday palettes. I love it. These are like my favorite go-tos. I got the Naughty palette while in Disney Springs in the parks, and it's so beautiful. I love it. I had to share it with you guys. So I went into the kitchen. There's like a little kitchenette area, which is super comfortable. Made myself a cup of coffee and made my way to the like kind of seating area, which was really nice. So we had like a little water view with a little bridge and some trees, so nice and private. And I just had my coffee over there while getting ready to hit that join boarding group button. So here is my tip as to how I did it. I had a separate clock. Either have your spouse or a separate clock on the side. This will eventually change. I think it's already changing, but to the time that you can have your boarding groups as of right now, it's 7 a.m. or 2 p.m. in the parks. So you can be out of the park at 7 a.m. So obviously we were in our hotel room. You have to have the reservation for that day. So make sure that you have the countdown going. Make sure that you set yourself an alarm to be able to wake up in the morning. So I made sure that I was up at 6:45, and I made sure that I hopped on the app early enough, and I made sure that I was logged into the app. I actually went on LT. Don't rely on the Wi-Fi, especially if you're in the parks, and basically do a countdown. So at 6:59 and 50 seconds, I did a 10-second countdown for myself. And we were able to get in, and we were one of the first boarding groups. So we were super excited. Not gonna lie, I think I shaved a year off my life, but I was super excited. So from there, we got our stuff, got ready for breakfast. So I packed a couple of things with me in my backpack. I have my mint mattifying mist, which I love. I have my little Hollywood Studios Prep and Landing magic band. I have a couple Alex and Annie bands that are like holiday themed, which I loved. And then I just usually wear something comfortable to go to breakfast. So the way that we do our routine now in Disney is we do breakfast at one of our favorite restaurants, which is on the Boardwalk, so it's walking distance. There's a couple that we really like, and then we'll come back to the room later. So we made our way outside. I just put on some holiday leggings, a little tank top, and I had my UGG sweater, my little cardigan, and then you have to wear your mask in all areas of the hotel, so you just put your mask on before you leave the room. And they had decorated overnight this night. Whenever we woke up, all of the hotels were decorated, all of the lobbies, and I was just obsessed. So at the Boardwalk, they had all of the popcorn themes and all of those twinkly lights like I was talking about. The lights were so bright and beautiful, and they had the curly cues just like I do at home. Let me just say, I was very impressed, and I would be honored if they ever needed assistance one day to help them decorate, because I would just be there in a split second. So where we go for breakfast is either in the Boardwalk area hotels to that Italian restaurant, but our favorite is at the Yacht Club. So we made our way over to the Yacht Club, which is honestly usually where we stay. We just so happened to be staying at the Boardwalk this time because there was a lack of availability in hotels. So at the Yacht Club, we ended up giving our name. You have to make reservations pretty much everywhere that you want to eat. So definitely, if you're going, be organized. They had also decorated this lobby and we were just getting ready to go into Ale and Compass. So we gave our name. You can check into your reservation in advance. So I checked in on our walk over, and I usually get the same thing whenever we eat at Ale and Compass. And Andre started getting this. He gets it off the kids menu, so it's just a lighter breakfast for him. And I usually will share the rest of my pancakes because, let's be honest, I am not eating all of that myself. So I always get a cappuccino, and then I get these blueberry bacon pancakes. Yes, blueberry bacon pancakes. They're so good. And I ask for the butter on the side because it's like a lemon butter. It's so good. Listen, if you ever go, you have to try it. So that's our favorite breakfast in Disney. So then we make our way back to the room. And the reason why we do this and we don't rush to the parks, especially right now because you need a park reservation, is our mindset is most people are going to rush to the parks first thing in the morning, and most will probably tire out by like noon. So why would we rush to the parks first thing, right? Unless you have a boarding group, of course. So what we do is we go back to the room and we will usually put in a little bit of work. Since we work for ourselves and we work really from anywhere, we tend to plug in no matter where we go, and we just work a little bit everywhere we are. So I checked in on my laptop. I did a little bit of work for the girls in the fit gym, checked in with them, and then I just hung out on my balcony. I did some work from my phone. I ended up going live on Instagram. I talked to you guys on stories, if you remember, whenever I was there, and I just sat out and enjoyed the view. So then from there, I actually got dressed in like my park outfit. Usually I try and wear something a little bit cuter and it also heated up. So I think I was doing like bike shorts and a little holiday sweater this day. And I love staying at the Boardwalk, any of the Boardwalk area hotels, so Beach Club, Yacht Club, and Boardwalk, or Swan and Dolphin, because you can walk to Hollywood Studios. It's so convenient. It's a beautiful walk along that little river. And Andre carried my backpack for me. The people on Instagram that were saying Andre's backpack was cute. He's just being a gentleman and carrying it for me. So the gondolas were soaring. It was beautiful. So walking into Hollywood Studios, by the way, the bag check is different now. I guess obviously people don't want people touching their stuff, so they have a different way of checking bags now. It's so seamless to get into the parks and so quick. Honestly, it was a beautiful experience. You don't tap your finger whenever you enter the park. I'm walking around feeling free. So I'm not gonna lie, going into Hollywood Studios, I was nervous because our first stop was going to be to get onto our boarding group. So you have ample amount of time to get onto your boarding group. They give you a specific boarding group number, and then they let you know what time about that's gonna be boarding, and they let you know when your boarding group is now boarding. So you have over an hour to make your way to Star Wars Land. So that's what we did. And I don't know why, but I was so nervous that when we got there, they were gonna be like, no, you can't, you're not on I don't know. I just started panicking. So, and also I think I was just really excited. I didn't know what to expect, and I had heard that it was really, really great. So I think Andre and I were both equally freaking out. I cannot imagine how excited someone would be that loves and understands Star Wars way more than we do. Like we love Star Wars, we love The Mandalorian, but we don't understand it nearly as much as like a diehard. The queue is unreal, absolutely unreal. I tried to share as much of it as I could. I was sharing it on stories while we were waiting in line. And let me just say, another thing with the parks right now, I love the lines. So see these little markers? You just stand on a marker. When the next person in front of you moves forward, you move forward. So it's so nice if you I get like line anxiety where I don't want to wait in a really long line for the fear of like a family stepping on my heels. It is my number one pet peeve when people are just in my bubble. So right now, it's like the biggest blessing. So any queue is like this, and it's so convenient and so easy. So for that reason, obviously some lineups might look longer and they might go into the exterior, but they're not really that much longer because the parks are at such a lesser capacity. And everything, by the way, was super clean, super spaced out, and amazing. This was the first kind of animated part of the queue. I was already blown away and freaked out in the best way. It was so cool. And they basically take you on like a journey. Again, I don't want to give away too much. I hate being that person that has like all the spoilers, but I'll share as much as I can without giving it all away. But either way, to experience it is a whole other thing. So going through the queue, you go into different rooms, you board into this little spaceship situation. And the idea here is that you're kind of leaving where we just were. And then this little thing gets taken over. It's kind of awesome. And it really feels like you're flying away. But you're still in line, which is so crazy. This room we didn't stay in very long, which I was so surprised because this is the room that I kept seeing on Instagram and on everyone's pictures, but it was so cool. So many stormtroopers, and then a couple of them are actually obviously human and they move, so that was wild. So you've boarded basically a ship that you're like in trouble, and all of the staff are such good actors, and they're like, get in line now, and they like you don't mess around, which is almost probably such a good feeling if you're a cast member and you get to work in there and you can tell people to hurry up. So then from that space you kind of get escorted and like saved by some of the good people, and then they shuttle you into a trackless cart, and then this is part of the ride. I was blown away, like literally mind blown. You have to do this ride so many times to soak up all of the different pieces of the visuals and everything. It was just it was so cool, it was so crazy, and just total stimulation overload. And there were definitely some jumpy parts. I definitely screamed my face off. I think Kylo Ren is the scariest thing ever. Oh, and the drop on the ride, if you've heard that there's a drop, I am the biggest baby ever. It was totally fine. I was honestly more nervous about this part with that lightsaber going through the ceiling. So one of the big questions that I got was it better than Flight of Passage? I would say that it is completely different than Flight of Passage, but man, they're neck and neck. It was so cool. It was honestly so cool. And I feel like if I was a diehard Star Wars fan, it would absolutely be my number one ride. So I definitely wanted to share all of that with you guys. And then from there, we stayed in Hollywood Studios, obviously, because our park reservation was for that day. And we did a little bit of shopping. So I did a couple of TikToks and Reels, and I shared my shopping adventures. I also did a full haul video of all the things that I got, but there was such amazing goodies in all of the shops and such great Christmas finds. We ended up getting Carl a couple things. I ended up getting myself many things, some decorations. It was awesome. So one spot that we went for lunch, and then we always tend to go, it's just quick, but we like it. It's pretty simple. It's Pizza Rizzo's. We love it. We honestly, Andre wanted to get on a second boarding group, and I said no. And I was like, well, I'll just try. And I would have gotten it, but you're not allowed to do a second boarding group on the same day, which is fair, which is already how I felt to begin with. Most rides, other than Slinky Dog, you can walk right on. The ride wait for Toy Story Mania was in between 15 and 20 minutes. Some days it was more, but we walked right on. We got to ride the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad. We went on Star Tours. We did all the rides that we wanted to do, which was really cool. Rise of the Resistance, not Rise of the Resistance, the other one, Smuggler's Run, we walked right on as well. But Andre loves Toy Story Mania. I think Toy Story Mania is his favorite ride. It's always different, and he gets really competitive, and he loves video games. And your arm near about feels like it's going to fall off at the end of this game. I would love to know in the comments down below which ride, if you could only run one ride until the end of time, which ride would be your favorite, because this was our answer. Because it's never the same, and it's always fun, and you can get better and better. So then we went into this area I thought for sure would be closed, but it wasn't, the little museum. I love it. I like it as just a little rest stop to cool off, to walk around. And I also, Walt is my hero, so I love just walking around there. We didn't go into the theater or anything. And this is the Runaway Railway area. So cool. And we ended up going on that on the first day that we had arrived. And the Star Tours, of course, was amazing with a new adventure. So that's always different also. And they had a new video, and they had these random parades every now and again. So characters come out, you just don't know when, which is really cool. And they're quick. It's not enough time for people to gather, basically. So throughout the day, we had a couple snacks, we had some drinks and some food, and we just had a great time. And honestly, the weather was fantastic. It wasn't very, very hot, and it wasn't very, very cold. So wearing the mask all day was totally fine. I can only imagine in the heat, that's probably a different story, but it was fine. And then it wasn't cold at all, just a light sweater in the morning, and then that sweater came off for sure. So then we made our way back to the hotel, enjoyed a couple hours just chilling, maybe an hour if that. And then we usually get ready for cocktail hour. So I had this cute little plaid dress, super dirty cheap, got it off of Amazon, and then I wanted to wear my fancy dinner ears. These are Swarovski crystal ears. They're bougie, they're beautiful, they're by Madame Gaston, and she makes the best masks. These masks were all that I wore in the parks. So good. I have a black one, a red one, and I have that gold one that matches the ears. So I got ready for dinner. So one place that we were loving that's really nearby our hotel that needs honorable mentions that I talked about a ton on stories that has become my favorite cocktail go-to spot was at the, I want to say the Dolphin, it might have been the Swan, one or the other, where Finn's is. So we would go to Finn's and we would get Andre would get their smoked drink. It's on the menu. And I asked him if he would make me a smoked mezcal margarita. He did, and it was fabulous. So shout out to Miguel at Finn's. You are a hero and hands down have the best drink in Disney. So I put on my cute little Disney jewelry and got my purse and everything, and I always bring a sweater with me just because they keep the restaurant so cold, especially at night. And I just grabbed all of my go-tos and my mask and everything, and we made our way out for drinks. So you can really see how bright the lights were in the lobby, like phenomenal. They definitely look different this year than other years. I don't know what they did differently. I was trying to figure it out with those lights, but they just did a bang up job. So we did not go to Finn's this night, but I did need to talk about it. We waited for an Uber and made our way to the Grand Destino. Now I'm going to talk about a couple of cocktail options in here because naturally you need to know where to cocktail in Disney. It's kind of my thing and I love it. The Grand Destino Tower is unbelievable. So Toledo's is on the rooftop, and then this Dahlia Lounge, which we had heard was fabulous. It did not disappoint. Absolutely phenomenal. I would honestly eat here. So I got a margarita. I think it was a mezcal margarita. So good. And then we shared these chips. You could totally do like a sharesies situation. Andre loved his cocktail. He got like a cucumber style cocktail. So good. And we like, honestly, I would totally stay there. So Toledo's was closed, but I heard that Toledo's is also absolutely amazing. Now, the only thing is I'm pretty sure the gondolas do not go here. So we had to take an Uber, which is fine. So Andre was on one, and I promise he only had one cocktail, but we were headed to Disney Springs, so there were a couple other cocktails that happened on the way. Now, the other thing that I wanted to give you as an option is if you are staying on the boardwalk, the thing that we did, I think the night prior, is instead of taking an Uber and making our way to this beautiful hotel, which was the Grand Destino, we made our way to the Riviera, which you can go to via gondola, which was sweet. And I love the gondolas right now because you don't have to share it with anybody else. And that was my one hang up with the gondolas before. I thought it was incredibly strange that they would stuff you in a gondola with a full other family. So we had gone as a family of 4 on the gondolas, and they put us with another family of 5. Pretty sure it was 5, maybe 4. It was a bit much. It was a bit much. Imagine if you get stuck with it was crazy. And now you just ride just your party. So it was just Andre and I, which was fabulous. And I can't imagine too, if someone has a fear of heights and they just really want to try it and they want to be calm, but you're with someone else that's like crazy and like rocking it. I don't know. I just think of the worst thing. It doesn't really freak me out, but there are moments where I have no fear of height and no fear of flying or anything like that. But I could totally see how it could freak someone out, because whenever it slows down, or even sometimes it has to come to a stop, just like normal gondolas do, it's kind of uncomfortable because it just, especially if there was wind this day, I can't imagine if it was actually really windy. But the views are unreal. So we flew right over, like we saw the Ratatouille area that's being built in Epcot. Like we're flying over Paris right now. You can't beat this. It's absolutely insane. So it's totally worth it. It's just so cool. So we literally flew our way over to get cocktails. And the Riviera is truly a beautiful hotel. We actually stayed here at the beginning of 2020. So we came to visit the house, actually the dirt of the house at the beginning of 2020. And we stayed here at one of the rooms. Like you can actually see our room from this video. It's one of the villas on the first floor. We had a 2-bedroom villa. We shared it with Andre's parents and we stayed there, and then we went and visited the house, and it was just so pretty. And the mosaic walls whenever you're coming in from the gondolas are just unbelievable. Like the hotel is so beautiful. So same thing, they have a stunning bar and restaurant on their top floor, and we knew that we wanted to go visit it. It's called Topolino's. They have those same beautiful shining twinkly lights at this hotel also. Listen, Disney knows how to decorate for Christmas. So this is the views from that Topolino's bar. So this one is more in the restaurant. The other restaurant, they're 2 separated entities. So here I had a very strong martini, and Andre had a very strong, I think it's almost like an old fashioned what he had in the form of a martini glass, and his was really strong as well. Listen, we were having a good time. Please keep in mind this was a fully other night. But I wanted to share this with you guys because it was so beautiful and so epic. So then from there, same thing, Uber to Disney Springs. So we had some beautiful meals on our trip. We had dinner at STK, which was amazing. We've been to the Edison before it had just reopened. Disney Springs was poppin', I will say. It was busy. There wasn't a lack of people for sure. Still comfortable though. Things had just reopened. Jock's Hangar Bar had reopened. It was fabulous. It was snowing. Listen, I was one happy little lady. But we made our way this night to Haleo's. So we usually will grab a margarita at Haleo's. And Andre will too. That just tells you how good the margaritas are at Haleo's. So they do it differently. It's like a on the rocks margarita, which is usually how I have it, but they do the salt air foam on the top of it. So good. And it is a big restaurant. It is a swanky, sweet, just really cool, vibey restaurant. And they asked us if we wanted to sit outside, and we were like, heck yeah, we do. And outside was super comfortable. So we ended up grabbing a drink at the bar before, and then we ended up going to our table. So you can kind of see that salt air foam. Every single sip has a little bit of salt, so they don't salt the rim. It's just totally different, but one of the best margaritas I've ever had. I would say this is on par with that best drink in Disney, but I think it comes second because it's not smoked. So we ordered, I'm just going to say, we ordered more margaritas when we got to our table. They go down really easy, like juice. They're dangerous. And the cups that they come in are so beautiful and so pretty. So the way that this restaurant works is you share pretty much everything. I don't think you have to, but I think it's encouraged. And you almost need to ask the waiter for help when ordering. So the service, we've noticed we've been there 3 or 4 times now, and the service is always impeccable and they're so knowledgeable. So these were like cheese bites, and they had pieces of cured meat in there. Like, it was so good. Of course, an epic charcuterie board. So we got a cheese board, a meat board, these cheese bites that went down really easy. This was the salumi board. That was very Italian. It was not called, I don't think it was called a salumi board, but a cured meats board. Just the most beautiful. And then I think I ended up getting a wine flight also. Oh, I didn't get a wine flight. This is why I was thinking that. I couldn't decide on a wine, and this is how great the service is. He said, I'll bring you the 3 that I would suggest to try, and you can decide on which you want. Like, so nice. Just amazing. And then the best thing to do after you drink that much is to go shopping in Disney. If you've ever done that, please share the most ridiculous thing that you've purchased. I will tell you, I bought one of those fluffy pillows. What are they called that fold? It's like an animal and it can fold into something. That was my, oh no, and a tiara. I also bought a tiara. Those were my ridiculous purchases after drinking too much in Disney Springs. I just think it's hilarious. Jock's Hangar Bar had some sweet holiday drinks. If you have a chance, definitely go. Wine Bar George was such an experience. I shared this all on my stories. I'm sure people think I drink a ton whenever I'm there. Listen, we enjoy a cocktail, but Andre and I usually share, or things don't get fully finished just because, listen, we need to walk home. We need to make it home. We debated a sprinkles cupcake. I'm not sure if Andre got one. I don't think he did. I think we reeled him on in. We did do some shopping. The World of Disney lineup, though, is actually sneaky. It's around the corner and it's quite long. So if you want to go once and have a plan. But I love the Co-op Marketplace. I shared the oils that I got there, where that trendy store is so cool. The Christmas store was obviously absolutely epic. No real lineup for that. As far as when we were there, it was pretty quiet and super nice. And like now there was nobody. So it really depends on the day that you go, obviously the time that you go. But most of the time that we were there was really quiet. There was just one day that we were there on a Friday, and there was definitely no lack of people. But I love being able to close down some of the parks and even Disney Springs. All of the displays and all of the decor in Disney was just fabulous. The cleanliness was amazing. The service was amazing. The experience was incredible. It definitely has not lost its magic. It was just miraculous. Andre and I did a full Q&A on our entire trip. We loved every second of it. And if you have any questions, definitely drop them down below. I hope that you enjoyed this full, very thorough day in the life. This is truly like what we do in the parks from morning till night, obviously with an added surprise of doing Rise of the Resistance, which was really cool to be able to share that with you guys. But if you enjoyed it, definitely give it a thumbs up. Comment down below with what you loved the most. Make sure that you're subscribed, hit the bell so that you can get notified for all of the daily videos, and make sure that you're following on Instagram. All of the highlights from this trip are highlighted in the highlights at the top of my Instagram, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, dudes.